Hello. Oh, I realized my guest is already in there, so there's no surprise. But no, today we're talking to the writer and creator of Kickstarter Success, Fangs and Foul. Fangs and Foul Play.
Hey Danny, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
So, I've been really excited since the time that we had the book. Now the book is finally in hands after a successful Kickstarter.
Mhm.
What's it been like to see this kind of go through the design phase? Obviously, you create the book, and then you go to Kickstarter, you successfully fund, and now you've been able to fulfill.
Oh my gosh, getting fulfillment done was like such a great feeling. I have one item left that's like a special print, high tier item that's going out this week, and then it's like, boom, 100% done. So that was really great to just like have that completed. Um, yeah, it's a really long process because we started on this in I think I started on the idea in 2020 and then we started on the art in 2021. So it's probably about a year, maybe a little bit over a year from like actual like start to like in everybody's hands and like done with the Kickstarter. Um,
Nice. And I know I ran into you, I think, on Travis Gibbs' show. Might have been, probably
Probably,
was.
yeah, probably.
But I haven't had you pitch to our customers kind of what Fangs and Foul Play is about.
Mhm.
I know some people just see this really cute cat here and they just think they're getting some adorable book. But what are they in store for when they pick up Fangs and Foul Play?
Well, it does have some adorable in there. It's adorable, and I like to say light horror. It's not super dark or psychological horror. Fang is the monster in the dark, so to speak. So it's I mean, he's a cute cat, but he is the evil thing. So the story itself is centered around Richard, who is a colonel. He's deserting an army because he doesn't want to commit any more atrocities. He runs into Fang and becomes enthralled by him. And Fang is now forcing Richard to feed him humans so that Fang can stay alive and, drink his blood and do vampire stuff, as vampires do. So poor Richard is like one bad situation straight to another. He cannot seem to get out, and so that's his predicament, and that's what we're kind of in right now. Is we have to see him both going through this predicament because he still has to feed Fang. He still has to do it. So there's that challenge, and then there's a challenge of how the heck is he gonna get out of this?
So where did the idea of making, what looks like your average house cat into a vampire?
Well, I do have cats, and they're hungry all the time. So a little bit of real life inspiration. The main cover with him on the table was not exactly a exact replica of an idea I had that kind of kicked off the idea in my head. The original idea was much more gruesome. But there was this cat and all these, kind of dead people. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Is that usually I kind of go through like a process when I have a new idea. Is this a book? Is this a short story? Is this a comic? Is it, maybe a script that I haven't actually produced anything film wise, but written a couple little short scripts. And then kind of figuring out like where it belongs. And this for me solidly fit in the comic category. I didn't have much question about that, which is really nice actually, when you don't have to like figure out where it fits in there. Because sometimes one medium is just better than the other for a particular idea. Although it would be really cool if somebody wanted to like animate Fang one day.
So
I might not say no to that. Yeah.
Did you consider taking it like the novel route, or did you just always feel like you were going to comic book?
I don't want to say it couldn't be a novel because it probably could. But I think it really lends itself to the visual medium.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really cool. A question that I got very early on because of how cute the covers are, kind of, especially your main cover.
Right.
What age demographic? Because you said it's not really psychological or crazy horror, but what age demographic are you aiming for?
Right. I would say that this first issue could be PG. I tell people it's PG-13 to leave myself a little bit of room for some, like, there's no cursing right now, but there might be. There might be a little bit more blood. So kind of leaving that door open. I don't want to have the expectation that it's really, for too young of an age group.
So, what is it about vampires that really just gets you? Because, like, vampires, obviously, the lore of the movies and everything goes way back in time. There's Blade, there's Buffy. I mean, tons of pop culture vampire. What is it that kind of stuck out to you and was just, your passion project this way?
I'm a big Buffy fan, so I love, the vampires from that lore. I had to do a little bit more research on the enthralling because I don't feel like I know it's out there in vampire lore. I feel like it's not used as often. Often. There was one episode in Buffy where it was very shortly lived because it wasn't like they were constantly under the thrall of it was. I think it was actually Dracula, if I'm recalling correctly. So it wasn't like with Richard where this is a much longer process and he's just constantly in his thrall. And I have cats, and they're a little like that. I love them, but they are a little, they're the bosses. They're the bosses.
It's so funny that you've made this book this way, because I've technically never thought that a cat is vampire, but now that it's in my head,
Right.
It actually makes all the sense in the world, and I can't unthink it.
Yeah. They already got the sharp little teeth, so we just, got to elongate them a little bit.
So let me ask, just because our friend David Byrne, I like to bring this up anytime I'm with somebody else who does vampires. Are fangs a must for vampires?
I feel like it'd be pretty difficult without them.
I agree. I agree. But some people like vampires without fangs. I wonder
I'm
how
sure they could find a way,
skin.
but yeah, I feel more like zombie power,
That's true.
Like just that like sheer force power.
Those zombies do have strong jaws.
Yeah.
So you fulfilled your first issue. Hi, Brenna. Brenna, who's my other comic employee, ever since the day she found out we backed your Kickstarter, was really excited for the book because she loved the aesthetic, and then she obviously loves the cat.
Yeah.
So we have one issue out. Is your plan to do more in this universe? Do you have it kind of set as a short mini-series or like ongoing?
Yeah. My goal, if all goes to plan, and how life likes to throw some curveballs, is to have the next one on Kickstarter in roughly 2 months. So don't quote me in case that changes a little. Oh, we're not live and being recorded on the internet for posterity for forever. Yeah.
2 months from whenever you're watching.
Yeah, right? So it could be like 2025. No, it won't be that long. That would be a little much. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple months, the next one will be on Kickstarter. We're almost done on inks, aside from the fact that I haven't actually reviewed the last couple pages because I was at a con. So I have to go review them, and then, any changes and colors is, I don't know, maybe almost half. So that one's it's really coming along. The only holdup would be me now getting the Kickstarter ready. So doing that whole process.
It's not as easy as people think, having just gone through one. So.
And so for the first volume, I'm looking at 4 issues, and then I'm just gonna see how that first volume goes before we actually start on a second volume. But I'm looking at 3 to 4 volumes if all goes well.
So Terry just asked, have you seen What We Do in the Shadows? Is there any vamp humor with the whole cat protagonist going on?
I have seen it. There is humor. I don't know what would constitute vamp humor. Oh, okay. No, I'm kind of thinking of the show now, and it's not really like meta, I guess, which I feel like that show is.
More just humor for humor's sake.
Right? Yeah. He has some puns, but they're not necessarily.
Well, you can't. Yeah. So actually, now that reminds me, how much of Fang? So did you grow up watching Sabrina?
I don't know if I've ever watched it like all the way through, but yeah, I've definitely watched,
So like,
it's on
did
TV,
a,
you watch it, which is like not
did
something
a
that happens nowadays. You watch it all through.
yeah, right. If you didn't watch it all, you didn't watch any.
Yeah.
But is any of Fang kind of come from any memories or anything from Sabrina's cat? Oh my God, Salem.
Salem, yeah.
Because I feel like he was always the witty cat that I remember of my youth.
Yeah, I do actually. I think on my Kickstarter said if you like Sabrina, you're probably gonna like this. Obviously, it's not an exact. Sabrina was the original Sabrina was much more light-hearted than the remake. So
Yes.
yeah, it's not that dark.
Now,
the comic is not that dark.
Fang is our main character throughout this. I mean, we have
Richard's technically, but yeah.
Cat Witch versus Cat Vamp. I love it. So what other projects are you potentially working on? Or are you keeping all your focus on Fangs and Foul play for right now?
I have a tendency to overdo things, so I was gonna do like a million more things, not quite literally, but it looks like we're probably doing Fangs this year. I still have like a bunch of anthologies that I'm working on, so I have pieces in Cthulhu's Hard to Spell, which has a little under 4 days as of now.
We already backed it. Yeah. I'm excited for that one. Yeah.
And then Cthulhu Invades Wonderland as well.
Also backed.
And I'm working on other ones, which I hope will be out this year. I think 1 or 2 might be next year.
Nice.
So lots of like small stuff, but yeah, I was working on another project. My artist is in Russia, and as we know, like communications are a little bit tricky right now. So we're kind of pausing on that at the moment.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. I've heard of a few projects, not just in Russia, but other countries, especially with people who work abroad, overseas, that have had to take slowdowns or pauses and things like that. So what have you done before Fangs and Foul Play? I know this is published through, is it Headless Gnome?
Headless Gnomes, yeah. Which
is that yours?
That's me, yeah.
So I see
banner back there, yeah.
the gnome. Where did that name come from? Because when I saw the shipping label that said it was coming from Headless Gnome, I'm like, what did I order?
Yeah. This was one of, I don't really do a lot of the like I can never remember the mind mapping. I don't do it that often, but I was trying to think of like a company name. I just kind of like had this like really long list, and then finally got it like whittled down. I was like, okay, which of these best fits like the feel I'm going for? Because I'm going for, speculative fiction, so horror, sci-fi, fantasy. I think this definitely fits horror and fantasy really well. Sci-fi, maybe not as obviously, and a little bit of humor. And I mean, they're gnomes. They're cute, and it's yeah. So I like if it was like headless people. That's just not as funny. I get
It's not as funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is this the first book published through Headless Gnome, or had you done something prior to this?
This is my first fully self-published thing through the company. Yeah.
Congratulations. We talked about what it was like going through the whole process, but now having this been your first book, what is it like just now hearing feedback? It's been, I mean, you shipped this to us maybe 3-4 weeks, almost a month ago now, I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
But what's it felt like, just your first kind of self-published book? What all the work that you put into it, not just writing it, creating it, Kickstarter fulfillment. What's it been like just hearing feedback, both positive and just overall?
It's both like really fulfilling and also somewhat of like a relief, because like you hope that people are going to like it, and then you don't know until someone tells you, and then you're like, oh my gosh, well, thank goodness. Because like if it was the other, I'd be like, oh man, if anybody hasn't liked it, they haven't told me yet. So, I mean, I'm sure there could be someone who doesn't. It's very possible.
But no, it's awesome. You funded on your first time. You fulfilled amazingly fast. I will tell you, there are Kickstarters from big and small that we've funded or we backed before you and still haven't gotten. So you did good. You did good.
I was a little worried with the paper shortage, but the company was about a month behind, which wasn't too bad, really.
Yeah, and you even made
given everything.
through bookmarks in there.
Mhm.
So those are awesome. So
I had all the
again,
merchandise before the books.
it's kind of like
That was
us
the
with our
fastest.
stretch goals. We kind
Yeah.
of started making them before we hit the stretch goals because we really hoped you'd get there. Plus, when there's a good deal, you just grab it, right?
Yeah.
So you said that you're hoping to do the Kickstarter in let's just say 2 to 4 months. Is there, based on that timeline, would you be thinking to do the third one by the end of this year, or is that not
That's
far
my
along in the
hope.
process that you can?
Yeah, that's my hope. Or
Nice.
maybe like January. If I can't do it this year, capitalize on the Make 100 and I don't know, we'll do something cool.
Nice. No, but to do 3 books in your first series in about a calendar year, because again, we're in March when you kind of fulfilled yours, that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I know I found you through other interview shows. Are you on Twitter? Is Headless Gnome on
Mhm.
Twitter? Where can people find you?
Yeah. Headless Gnomes at Headless Gnomes, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And Facebook is my most used. I'm working on being on there. There's a little bit more, but I am there. And at LK Ingino on Twitter and Twitter and Instagram at LK Ingino. No, yeah, that's right. I was trying to change it and it wouldn't let me. So it's at LK Ingino author on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. And can people reach out to you through some of those if they ever want to give you feedback or tell you anything about the book?
Yeah. Facebook is probably the best, followed by Instagram. I'm really bad at checking Instagram messages, but my email is also on like my Facebook page. So
Awesome. And with that being said, what can people, if anybody tuned in late, what can they expect if they come in the store and they pick up Fangs and Foul Play?
all right, we got cuteness, cats, vampires, a little bit of humor, and a little bit of horror. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fun ride, and it's going to continue to be one, hopefully, if I do
Oh,
things
we're
right.
excited. I can't wait for the second campaign. We'll be there. We'll bring you back on the show. I'm sure we'll be with Travis Gibb as well. And
Yeah.
also mentioning Travis Gibb, feel free to shout out the other 2 anthologies that you're in that are technically still on Kickstarter.
Yes, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland and Cthulhu is Hard to Spell. And you can find them in backwards order, CthulhuIsHardToSpell.com and CthulhuInvades.com.
And it's kind of crazy because both of those books plus this book we have in our store, we're going to go from having none of your books to 3 of your books.
Yes. Oh, well, do you have Cthulhu is Hard to Spell too?
Yeah, well, that's coming with we did the tier where we get them 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, yeah. Well, then you'll have that one too. So
Nice. See, you're
that
just
was the
growing.
first one. Yeah.
Nice. Was that your first? That
That was
wasn't
my
your
first one.
published work?
Yeah. Cthulhu is Hard to Spell 2 was my first published work. Like not, it wasn't like my company that published it. Obviously, it was Russell Nolte's company.
Yeah, but that
Warming
was the
Press.
first time that you had your work published, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. So I can't wait till we get that in here. I'm gonna have to buy myself a copy because I've been loving everything you've done so far.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. And then we'll catch up with you on the net. Wow, I didn't realize that I did that and it just clapped like that. But no, we'll catch up with you for the next campaign.
Sounds awesome. Thanks so much for having me on.
No problem. Thank you for sticking with us. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning of the show. Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
So thank you again to my guest, the creator, writer, Fangs and Foul Play, LK Ingino. Super happy to have her on the show. Super happy to have her talk to you guys about the book. I can talk to you guys about the book all day, but it's awesome to hear it directly from the creator. The book is available here in the store. We have the regular covers, and then she hooked us up with a few of the special covers. So we have those available here in the store. And again, if you'd like Sabrina, if you like vampire stuff, I'm going to go on a limb. If you like Lost Boys, go ahead. You're going to like this. So we will be back tomorrow with me and Brenna's new this week preview show. And then hopefully we are on time for that one. So take it easy, everybody. Have a good